Hello and namaste to everyone. Myself Dr. Sudipte Singh and I have done undergraduation from Baxon Homeopathic Medical College and further my post-graduation in psychiatry from Father Muller's Homeopathic Medical College in Mangalore. And currently I am working as an assistant professor in Department of Psychiatry at JIMS, Hyderabad. And today I am going to discuss a very important thing with you all, that is problem solving and skills. This topic is something which is not only beneficial in our professional life but also in our personal life. After going through this session, you will be able to cope up with your professional and personal life in the upcoming future ahead. So without any further delay, we will begin the slides. So in this session, we are going to discuss about what is a problem, categorization of problem, approach to a problem, problem analysis, problem solution and critical thinking, characteristics of a critical thinker, procrastination and methods to avoid it, basic tools and strategies in problem solving, problem prevention, and finally the homeopathic aspect related to it. So what is a problem? In everyday language, problem is something which is difficult to deal or understand, or it can be a situation or any act in which someone find it difficult to respond, or problem can be defined in general sense as a task, a situation or a person that is difficult to deal with or control due to complexity and non-transparency. But before getting into what is a problem and just going ahead to solve it, we should know the what, why, where and how of a problem. So what is the problem? The first step is to understand what that problem actually is. You need to be sure that you are dealing with the real problem and not its symptoms. Where is the issue is also very important. Here you should be able to differentiate fact from opinion, specify the exact underlying causes and state the problem specifically. That is, you should be able to diagnose the issues rather than just running to treat the symptom of the issue. How critical is the issue? We should undoubtedly acknowledge the extent and severity of the issue, the impact and the consequences needed to be dealt with and details prior to a solution plan and action. We will try to understand the whole concept with a very basic example. Okay. So suppose in a school among many students in a class, one student is unable to concentrate and score well in class. In this case, class teacher is continuously keep on complaining and punishing that particular child, and without inquiring into the deeper situation of it. But deep down if we inquire, the student is suffering from maybe some parenting issues or some other family situations and environment that is needed to be solved, and it is very rational to deal with it. That's why it is very crucial to acknowledge what, why and how of the problem before directly jumping into the solution part. In this case, it is recommended to the class teacher to acknowledge the issue in a broader way, aligning all the aspects and then finding a solution to it rather than merely coming to a conclusion. Next comes the categorization of the problem. A problem can be categorized as a hindrance or problem creating further opportunities and progress, and problem as a challenge. First, we will deal with problem as a hindrance. Many times we experience something that acts as a blockage to positive future. We find it difficult to deal with or overcome it. For example, if we talk about the digital world, the internet has many benefits for people and organizations. It has made us to grow all together and got the whole world in one's palm. But its overusage has resulted into addiction, consequently impacting one's physical, psychological, work and social aspect. The excessive dependency and consumption hamper our productivity level, making it one of the major hindrances to the overall growth of self and others. Proper insight into the issue and mentoring at the personal level or by the authorities will help us to make a rational use of the internet rather than being dependent and harming our growth and productivity. Next comes the problem as a challenge. A challenging problem is the one where we explore ourselves while solving it. We grind ourselves and make maximum use of our grey matter. This phase is very famous right now because of the obvious reason, and we are very familiar with this phase, especially after his biopic introduced as a book and further made into a mega movie blockbuster, setting up an example for hard work with no boundaries. Mr. Manoj Kumar Sharma is an IPS officer of 2005 batch in Maharashtra cadre, belonging to a small town somewhere in Chambal in Madhya Pradesh, and having no better means to study, challenges himself to take the conditions of the society ahead with his honesty and determination. He mentioned that cheating in school was a tradition and he challenged it with his hard work and later became an officer after many failures and odd jobs, like being a toilet cleaner or floor grinding worker. But nothing could stop him as he was ready to take that challenge. I think we should obviously learn from him. Next comes the problem as an opportunity. Certain problems while solving act as a catalyst which enhances our productivity and adds on our opportunities and progress. They help us to get up to the ladder and reach our destination. Again, with this face also you all will be familiar. He is actor Mr. Pankaj Tripathi, widely known for being versatile and a natural actor. Being awarded multiple awards and also a national award, he is at the top of his game. But if you look a little back at his life, we acknowledge how he managed to use even the small opportunities given to him in the area of acting and made it into another way to move ahead and get on the top. There are many examples in other areas also, like Neeraj Chopra, the Olympic gold medalist, to Meera Kulkarni, the Forest Essentials owner, who made the best use of the opportunities and paved their way ahead in their respective fields. Next, we will be dealing with the approach to the problem. Either we can look it in a positive way or a negative way. So obviously, our approaches will be positive approach or negative approach. What is a positive approach? So, here the person sorts the issues by knowing the bits of it, the extent and type. Further, planning the solution stepwise after proper research, taking time to act rather than directly jumping for the results. And if we talk about the negative approach to solve a problem, in this case, the person acts without a rational plan or knowing about the real issue. At times, they act according to the emotional baggage around them or other external factors. They are more inclined to the negative of everything rather than the other way around. We will understand the concept by a simple example ahead. Two kids named A and B had an intense fight at school, which was followed by calling both of their parents by the management. The next day, on the arrival of the parents at the principal's office, the matter was discussed diplomatically and it was handled well. But later what happened is the bigger thing. Back at home, the reactions of both the parties were different. The parents of A listened to his story again and asked him to react more aggressively next time and not to fear about anything. They are there to support him. Whereas if we talk about the parents of student B, they asked him to sit down and have an interaction with them. They asked him not to repeat it again, as such fights would not lead him to be a good human or any kind of progress. They made him understand the power of letting go things and patience. So what do you think the two kids' personalities may develop into? Obviously, the kid A will be more stubborn, impulsive and rebellious. And if we talk about the kid B, he will be more calmer, diligent and adjustable in the upcoming future. That's why your words have a great power, especially as a parent. Parents of A showed a negative approach to the problem, whereas parents of B handled it in a positive way. Next comes the problem analysis. It is a systematic process of making us acknowledge the dynamics of the problem and finally planning out a response strategy. And many factors are related to it. It can be internal or external, and things under our control or not under control. First, we will look at the internal factors. It can be anything. It can be like having a physical complication or having some attitude issues or our own mindset, emotional disposition and personality of ours, and other psychological factors like stress. If we talk about the external factors, it can be home, environment, parenting style and upbringing, the influence of society and culture, environmental factors, both physical and social. Other includes politics, technology, etc. So, things under your control. It is very relevant to acknowledge the factors that you control while solving a particular issue. This makes our task or problem solving very easy and also get a satisfaction at the end. And things not under our control, many times after much brainstorming for a problem, we end up at point zero only. This makes it very requisite to know the points which are not under our control and not to waste our energy over it. This undoubtedly saves our time and also avoids frustration. Apart from mentioned basic problem analysis, it is very important to note down the pros and cons of Apart from mentioned basics of problem analysis, it is very important to note down the pros and cons of post-problem solving situations. So, problem solution, what it is exactly? Problem solving or critical thinking. It is also called as critical thinking, okay. So, it is referred to the ability to use knowledge, facts, data and our own experiences to effectively solve a problem. It is the ability to develop a well thought out solution within a reasonable time frame. What is a critical thinking and why it is so important for us? The intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing and or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning or communication as a guide to belief and action. This is a proper definition for critical thinking which you need to acknowledge. First, we should know what is the problem. Then we should think about it, we should have a rational discussion and analysis about the problem and then finding a solution for it. So, what are the characteristics of a critical thinker? Be an active learner and observer, being open-minded, self-critical when required, experiment with your own solutions only what you have discovered, learning with age no bar, always be ready to learn. You should not have that feeling that, oh, I have completed this degree and also I'm a pro in it. You should always have that tendency to learn from your juniors also if they are telling something new or some new concepts to you. Being honest with self is the very important thing among all. You should be very self-honest with you. Okay. Next comes the problem solving in practice. So, it includes gathering information, critically examining the whole issue, being emotionally intelligent. Being intelligent is fine, but being emotionally intelligent is the top of it. It is the main factor, okay. Next comes logic and reasoning for understanding the problem, exploring the issue in detail, foreseeing consequences and taking action. That is, you should note down the pros and cons of it before solving it. It should not be like that you solved it and it created a disaster for everyone. Need for avoiding procrastination. You all will be knowing what is procrastination. That is the act of delaying. So, what is the need of avoiding procrastination? It creates a gap between reality and self. That's why we need to avoid it. Next, it overshadows the other opportunities for us. It creates setbacks and low self-esteem. It hampers our logic and reasoning power. It is a major cause for fear and guilt in our personal and professional life, and it creates anxiety and panic and maybe another psychiatric disorders. So what are the methods to overcome procrastination? The major thing, the main thing is the time management, which we all should know. Then breaking down of the complex issues into bits. Next is the getting rid of the distractions. Like I told you about internet. Nowadays we are completely into using our phones and watching Netflix. So we should have a time management for everything and a mentoring how to use it. Setting up our priorities is the basic thing. So the best way to get something done is to begin. Always remember, you can't procrastinate and you can't delay your learning process, okay? Basic tools and strategies for problem solving. First is being realistic with our goal setting. Some problems are simple and easy to solve, while others are hard and complicated. When we have a big problem, we must not surrender but find a realistic goal for it that when reached will make the problem smaller and manageable. Next is the application of our creative thinking. Sometimes we cannot see a solution to a problem because we are afraid to think creatively or out of the box. This gives us a major requirement to think creatively or in another way around. So next is ideal problem solving strategy, where I stands for identifying the problem, D stands for defining the goal, E stands for explore possible solutions for it, A stands for action, and L stands for look and learn. How to solve a large and more complex issues? As I told you, it's very important to break it into bits and solve it one by one. So acknowledging the problem as a whole is very important, but at times breaking them into parts and planning a solution for the same is majorly advisable. Next is the 80-20 rule, also called as Pareto principle. The 80-20 rule states that 80% of all benefits come from 20% of the work and 80% of the problems are caused by 20% of the work. So what is the main key points of this principle? The first one is identify the problem and make a list. Identify the main cause of each problem. Give a score to each problem. Then grouping problems according to the causes. Add up the scores for each group and finally an action to it. Next is problem solving in collaboration. Working as a team to solve a problem creates several potential. Working as a team to solve a problem creates several potential and creative measures to get the desired consequence, enhancing productivity levels. Problem solving by taking expert opinion. An expert is someone who has experience and extensive knowledge about the issue. Thus, opinion from the experts are more logical and sacred at times. So, it is advisable to take any expert opinion. Group discussions. It provides one of the simplest and most effective high quality solutions and problem solving strategies, also promoting teamwork and improvising communication skills. This we especially use when we are studying. So group study is also a very beneficial trend among students to learn in a more comprehensive way. Re-identification of the problem. At times while solving a problem, we come to a standpoint. That moment it is necessary to review that situation and plan out. Blindly moving ahead is completely irrational. One of the most requisite yet underappreciated product skill is the ability to prevent the problems. So we discussed about everything. What is a problem?